Moi, tervetuloa Takakansi-podcastiin. Mä oon Marko Suomi ja tää on tämmöinen kirjapodcast. Ja tänään meillä on tänään tämmöinen tilanne, me puhutaan sekä suomea että englantia. Me saatetaan vaihtaa kieltä. Tässä kesken kaiken me ollaan sovittu vieraankaan niin. Ja me puhutaan Mutta tervetuloa Hope Nwosu. Oliko se oikein?
Kyllä, oikein meni. Kiitos paljon.
Joo, tosi kiva kun pääsit. Me ollaan täällä musiikkitalolla. Mitä just nyt kuuluu?
Hyvä kuuluu, just työpäivä just loppui ja ihan yes.
Yes, hyvä. Mä tarkoitus tänään puhua sun kirjasta, mutta myös vähän sun muusta. Sä oot tehnyt puhujatöitä ja kaikkea tällaista. Sulla on vaikka mitä sä touhuat.
Joo.
Ja
sanoko?
Joo, ja sitten mä löysin sut sitä kautta, että Angela Faye oli kirjoittanut Maailman Kuvalehteen artikkelin kirjallisuudesta, ja sua oli haastateltu siihen. Se olikohan se viime vuonna?
Kyllä, se oli viime vuonna. En nyt muista tarkka päivämäärä, mutta kyllä viime vuonna oli.
Joo, ja siinä oli sen artikkelin näkökulma oli, että Suomessa on kirjailijoita, jotka kirjoittaa muulla kielellä kuin suomeksi, eli sä kirjoittaa englanniksi.
Kyllä.
Ja niitä ei löydy mistään. On vaikea saada yleisöä tai vaikea tulla esille, vaikea saada julkaistua tekstejä. Ja sitten mä olin siinä, totta. Ja sitten mä ostin sun kirjan tuot Rosetta Versosin kautta, niiden sivujen kautta muistaakseni. Mutta haluatko esitellä itse jotenkin, mitä sä haluaisit kertoa itsestäsi?
Mulla on aina vaikea kertoa itsestä,
niin, se on vaikea.
Koska en tiedä mistä aloitan, mutta lyhyesti nimeni on Hope Nwosu, kuten olet just kertonut. Olen alun perin Nigeriasta kotoisin. Olen asunut Suomessa nyt reilu 13 vuotta. Ammatiltani olen sosionomi. Työskentelen tällä hetkellä Vantaan teollisuuspalveluissa teollisuusasiantuntijana.
Joo. Ja eikö niin, että sä oot opiskellut aikaisemmin myös kirjallisuutta?
Kyllä, opiskelin Nigeriassa englannin kielen ja kirjallisuutta monta vuotta sitten, ennen kuin tulin Suomeen.
Kyllä. Ja sitten sä oot saanut palkintoja sun kirjoittamisesta. Sun novelli Hairdresser on saanut palkinnon.
Kyllä, se oli vuonna 2014, silloin kun mun ura oli just alkamassa. Joo.
Löytyykö se jostain? Pääseekö se lukemaan? Mä yritin etsiä netistä sitä, mä en löytänyt sitä.
Kyllä löytyy varmaan storymondo.com.
Et sen saa lukea sieltä.
Joo, palkinto oli tullut sieltä, kun oli kirjoituskilpailu ja Hairdresser voitti. Ja kyllä pitäisi löytyä netistä.
Mä yritän etsiä vielä uudestaan. Mä voisin laittaa vaikka se linkin sitten tähän mukaan tähän jaksoon. Mistä se Hairdresser kertoo?
The Hairdresser talks about it's about a young lady who has moved to a new country, and she discovers that she couldn't find any job at all, and then she ended up at a hairdressing salon, not as a hairdresser herself, but to learn hairdressing. And so that's what the story is about mainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ja sitten viime vuonna 2024 sä oot julkaissut ensimmäisen romaanin.
Kyllä.
Ja sen nimi on SoldOut, kirjoitetaan SoldOut yhteen. Ja saat kertoa itse siitä kohta, mutta mä luin sen, se on englannin kielellä, ja tosiaan löytyy Rosetan sivujen kautta ainakin pystyy ostamaan. Ja mä tein kyllä siitä meidän paikallisen kirjaston hankintaehdotuksen, että se löytyy varmaan monesta kirjastosta myös. Mutta se kertoo Chioma-nimisestä naisesta, joka ajautuu tosi vaikeisiin ja synkkiin tilanteisiin hänen elämänsä kannalta. Hän kohdellaan huonosti, koska hän on nainen, ja hän joutuu ihmissalakuljetuksen kohteeksi ja joutuu myymään itteensä, ja hänet huijataan. Se on tosi väkivaltainen raju tarina, ja silti siinä on jännää semmoista jotenkin elämänvoimaa ja iloa ja myös vähän toivoa. Ja siinä se on tosi kiinnostava kirja. Mitä sä haluat kertoa Sold Out-kirjasta?
Kuten sanoit, että vaikka aihe on todella vakava, mutta että myös löytyy hyviä puolia. And that is about in life, there are difficulties and we cannot run away from difficult situations. Sometimes we can actually say that it's a part of life to have like different ups and downs, but it's also important to know and to remember that there could be light at the end of the tunnel. So the book tells the story of a young lady who has been trafficked, betrayed by her family, and also betrayed by the people she trusted. And the book is a very, very painful story of betrayal, of human rights violation, but it also gives hope that despite all the challenges that one could face in life, that there is always a possibility to start again, that you don't need to remain in that bad position, bad situation, and think that that is all that life is about, that there is also hope at the end of the tunnel.
Kyllä. Ja mistä sä sait idean kirjoittaa just tämän kirjan?
During my studies at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, University of Nigeria is actually one of the oldest university in Nigeria, and it's the first indigenous university after Nigerian independence about 65 years ago. So during my studies already, I was already dreaming to be an author, but life happened, and life happens, and I didn't immediately get to start my writing career, but I have always wanted to write. So when I moved to Finland many years ago, and then all of a sudden I was also myself in a difficult situation, and then I felt that in order to make the best out of the situation, that now it is time for me to fulfill that dream of writing, of becoming a writer. So that was one of the first motivation for writing the book. Another motivation was that then along the line I started meeting Nigerian women, many of whom were also victims of human trafficking, and many of them told they had similar storylines about betrayal, about how they had to repay thousands of euros that you could never think about. It was unthinkable, and meeting them also like reaffirmed that kind of desire, that kind of zeal, that now I need to write. If there is time to write, it is now, and that was the motivation that like motivated me to write the book.
Miten kauan tämän kirjan kirjoittaminen kesti?
The writing process, the actual writing itself did not last more than 2 years, but then the looking for publisher and all the process took noin 10 vuotta.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yes.
But yes, it's kind of common that for example, I talk to many authors and they say that the first novel might be like years in their head in some way, and then when they get the ideas on the paper, maybe it starts going a bit faster, but there's so many ups and downs in that process.
Yes, for me, it was very clear from the beginning what I wanted to write, the topic I wanted to write on, and the storyline was kind of clear. So it didn't take me so long to put my idea into paper or on the computer, if you would like to say that. But then the actual publishing process, for example, looking for a publisher, sending to publishing houses and being rejected a few times, that was what took many years for me.
Kyllä. Ja kuten tuossa Maailman Kuvalehden artikkelissakin kerrottiin, niin Suomessa ei varmaan ole hirveästi kustantamaa, jotka kustantaa muulla kuin suomeksi ja ruotsiksi.
Ei varmaan.
Kyllä.
And I didn't at least find anyone that was willing to publish in English, and I actually offered also that the manuscript could be translated to Finnish, but it didn't kelpaa to the publishers because they maybe felt that it would be too much work to first translate and then publish.
Aivan. Eikö niin, että kirjassa on paljon viittauksia, tai se perustuu moneen eri tositarinaan, voisiko näin sanoa, mutta se on fiktiivinen sinänsä, mutta siellä taustalla on oikeita kokemuksia eri ihmisiltä.
Exactly. The book is based on true life stories of victims or survivors, as I like to call them, survivors of human trafficking. Yes, so these are true stories that happened both in Italy and in Nigeria. But then the book itself is, we can call it fiction.
Oh, yes.
But many people can relate to this. And when I get like feedback and reviews from people, they tell me that many of these, they have heard this kind of stories, and that they also know people who have had this kind of situation. So it really is very, 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 very true to the reality of what happens.
Yes. Kirjassa Chioma hän elää, tässä eletään tavallaan tätä päivää, missä hän on menossa silläkin hetkellä, mutta hän muistelee paljon. Esimerkiksi on tavallaan takaumia, että menee lapsuuteen tai muistelee nuoruuttaan, muistelee sitä, millaista oli ennen kuin hän päätti lähteä ja mitä kaikkea siinä matkalla tapahtuu. Ja se on mielenkiintoisesti rakennettu, että välillä ollaan tässä hetkessä ja välillä sukelletaan muistoihin. Miten sä päädyit tämmöiseen tarinan rakenteeseen?
Well, just like in life, the life we live does not just go like on a straight line. Sometimes we're taken aback to our past. Sometimes we dream about the future. Sometimes we have to bring ourselves back to the present. So this can be likened to like the stories in the book. That yes, the story starts when Chioma was already in Italy, but then, as just like any one of us, she also remembers how her childhood time was, and also remembers how it was in Libya when she ended up there, and then her present situation.
Yeah. In the book, it's interesting because there's many characters in the book. And none of them are black and white, like good or bad in a way. For example, Chioma has to learn tough survival mechanisms in order to survive in the new places and during the travels. And also then there is described the people who do the human trafficking, like they are also in a kind of a situation that they are forced to work that kind of work. And there is a lot of exploitation, but still I think you paint a picture that all the people are human and not monsters, for example.
And that again can also be related to real life, that we as human beings, people have their good parts and they also have their bad parts, and nobody is completely bad. There is always some iota of humanity in us, and that is the way personally I also like to see life, that even if a person has done bad, has been bad, but if you look closely enough, you will also find good parts of that person. So for example, William, who trafficked Chioma, you also see that he himself, he was actually in dilemma of what to do. He personally wouldn't want to let the girls pass through the desert, and you see that actually his first plan was to take them off through by a visa, like he actually applied for a visa for them, but then when it's happened that they were busted, and then he had to take a plan B, but still that does not make his business legitimate, and that still does not justify the fact that he trafficked young girls. But he, at the end, is also human, and he also had his own difficulties, his own things that he was also battling with.
Yeah. The big theme also in the book is like gender equality or non-equality, basically, and that's like I think a big theme. What do you think are other big themes in the book that you wanted to discuss?
Well, gender equality is linked to a lot of the other smaller themes. For example, it can be linked also to the preference for the male child when as opposed to the female child, and that is because there is still not an equal value that is placed on both the boy and the girl child. You see in the book that Chioma's father was very disappointed when the wife had given birth to already many girls, and then the doctor had told them that now you cannot try again.
Yeah.
And he was really disappointed, and that was when for him he had enough, and he had to look for somebody else who would give him a male child. So that is also related to gender inequality, and that was one of the very important themes that I wanted the reader to think about how gender inequality can actually ruin a person's life. As we see in this case, Chioma, maybe she wouldn't have ended up trafficked if everything was, for example, okay, and she was living in a loving family where her father was there protecting, providing, and they were living a happy life. Maybe she wouldn't have accepted to run away with this person. So gender inequality has an intersectional consequences for anyone who is exposed to the maltreatment and to the consequences.
Yeah, and also there was this kind of, in a way, I think, like what you said now, the father kind of tried to maybe, what was that, how do you say that, but like tried to succeed in the society in the way he thought that would be, that getting the son would have made him successful. So, and that's kind of related to social structure, and also the maybe poverty in some ways, or he had the idea, but I don't know, we don't know if he was really happy later at all.
Yes, the book doesn't tell us if he succeeded, but the pressure, he was also under pressure, because you would notice that when he is among his friends and they are drinking and they are talking, and then he gets shut down because he gets insulted, and he's told that, oh, you have all girls who would at some point get married and change their names, and there'll be nobody in your own house. So he was also under societal pressure to also produce a son who would take after him. So, and again, it points to the fact that no human being is a monster, because even though he was also a very difficult person, a very stereotypical African man, but he was also under a lot of pressure by his friends and by the society at large. Yeah,
that's right. One interesting thing, there's a lot of interesting things, but one related to family and related to community. I think in one, I don't remember if Chioma was in, maybe she was in Italy in that sense, but she is remembering like that now she felt that she's alone, she's individual, like in the Europe, and maybe there's some more like individual, like in a stereotypical way, a culture. And then she remembered at home, like that she tried to encourage herself so that it was very irritating in the home when everybody knew you and they asked a lot of questions and wanted to know where she's going. But now she's totally alone. But it was like, there was also many good and bad things on both sides.
This again tells us that there is no perfect place, there is no perfect culture, there is no perfect society. There are many good things in each society, just like in the European society. In Finland, for example, there are many good things about the Finnish society when you think about the individualism and the fact that you can be left alone in peace. You can be in your place, at your place, and nobody just barges in without invitation. But on the other hand, that also means that people can be very lonely. Yes. So in this case, Chioma remembers that at home she had a whole lot of nuclear and extended family with whom sometimes can be very, very annoying. Like when people are always asking, how are you? And wants to ask about every member of your family, even when you are in a hurry and you're going to somewhere. But on the other hand, then she notices that, okay, individualism is also not the best. I think that the best would be to have a balance. You have your personal space, but you also have a possibility to be a human being. Because as human beings, we are social animals. We don't want to be alone. It is said in an African adage says that a tree cannot make a forest. And that means that one tree, when it is just one tree, it's not a forest. Meaning that an individual cannot make a society. We need one another wherever you are. So I think the most important thing is to find a balance in whatever you do, in wherever you find yourself. Also in being human and in not being perfect. You have your good part, you have your bad part. So you can have a balance.
Yeah, and I think I like that way of like showing the person, like she almost like from childhood she had like, let's say, sad and happy experiences, and when she traveled there was like in a way a scare that if she's gonna lose her humanity if she ends up in very bad place. But then she found, I think there was like I don't know how to say this, but a lot of places that you could see that it's also part of luck. If you end up in a situation like this, then it's not going to be a happy life, or at least for a while. And it's, well, that's, I don't know how to say this.
Yeah, talking about luck, Chioma, her name actually means a child who has a god that brings luck.
Okay.
So she, just like her mother told her from childhood that she brought a lot of luck to the family. For example, when the day she was born, her father used to like have traps in the bush, which means that then the wild animal will get there and be trapped, and then that will be like food.
Yes.
And then so the very day she was born, the father got like very big animal, and that was rare. So, and then during her trip to Italy, many people lost their life. People who were on the same boat with her.
Drowned.
Yes, drowned. But she was among the very few survivors. So she has had luck with her all the time.
And regards of the drowning, it's like in Finland, there's sometimes just news articles. Okay, these and these people, not these and these people, but how many people drowned in the Mediterranean Sea. But it was, I think, interesting, and also it was sad, but very good to know the story, because you were in the ship talking about the story in a way, showing how it is in the actual travel, because that makes it more, also not, it makes it more sad, but also makes it more clear how it is. Yeah, that's that's it. These things that you wrote about, you also, I think, you also do public speaking, right? People can have you in some event talking about things, but you also talk about these same things.
Yes. Already before SoldOut was published, I have had an opportunity to speak at events, at workshops, seminars about different topics, including my own personal experience as an immigrant in Finland. So yes, these days I talk a lot about the book, because actually one of the reasons for writing the book was also to bring these themes, these topics to public discussion, to mainstream discussion, and I would say that I have succeeded, but of course, yes, it is still also a process, and I hope that as many as possible would hear about the story of this young girl, and also to think about what implications gender inequality has on a young girl, on young girls who might think that, oh, Africa is too far away. But the consequences, the aftermath also affects us in Finland.
Yes.
So, yes, so these are some of the topics I speak about at events.
Yeah, I think it's very important, because if people or group of people, or like a lot of people are felt that they don't have the same opportunities, or they are not belonging, or things, it will affect everybody's like happiness or unhappiness in a way.
Yes, and also the security. For example, if there are many people who were at the margin of the society, we know that it increases, for example, crime, and a lot of other bad things happen. Just that sometimes we think that Africa is too far from Finland, and that whatever happens there remains there.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of,
Yeah, but we know that with technology, and with immigration, like the world has become even a global village, such that what happens in Africa or in Asia, even if it doesn't affect you directly, it might affect your children or the generation to come. So it's very important, like, to know the reality.
Why did you decide to start speaking or start writing, that want to tell these stories and want to? I guess you want to affect the society, or make better like world or whatever. Why? You didn't know. Was it also in a young person that you want to change world or something?
Um, as a young person, maybe you haven't seen it somewhere or you haven't heard where I was speaking about it. As a young person, I wanted to be a lawyer. And that is because I saw a lot of injustice around me. I saw people losing their land to others who were not the rightful owners. But because those people have power, then they could take the land. And already as a young girl, I knew that I wanted to defend those people. As a result, I wanted to study law at the university. But unfortunately, I did not get an admission. But I was given, English was my second option. So I was offered to study English and literature, and I had no option than to accept it. So based on that, I have always had this zeal, this eagerness to speak on behalf of people, to champion the voices, the causes of important topics, subjects that I think people should know about, people should intervene. So this has led me to be able to talk about these topics. And now that I actually have this book in my hand now, it has given me even more platform, more opportunity. It's like a tool with which I use to talk about those important topics that I have always wanted to talk about. Now I am not a lawyer, and maybe I cannot be a lawyer anymore. But I think that in my own little way, I can still speak up and enlighten people about different topics and about human rights issues and about gender equality issues.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of use the education you have to still work for the goals you had, in a way.
Yes.
To use the literature, power of literature, and there's also a chance that you get you find, or the people who wouldn't found you as a lawyer, they might find you through the book.
I hope so. And I think that in whatever situation, in whatever position we find ourselves, I think that we can still make an impact. I might not have become a lawyer, but I find myself as a person in the social field, and in that field we also do a lot of advocacy work. We support our clients, we motivate our clients, so it's also kind of related. So I feel that in whatever position you find yourself, that you can still make an impact.
Yeah, and that, I think that's one of the things you also talk about, right, in your speeches, that use your voice. And,
yes.
And actually in the interview in the magazine, you said that don't lose your voice. It was, I think it's a good message.
Yes, it's very important that you don't lose your voice, especially when you know that you have an important message that people should hear. Don't think that somebody else will say it, will speak about it. We, you, me, we have a responsibility to use our voice and to make an impact in whatever position we find ourselves. We might not be the president, but even as an ordinary citizen, we can still make an impact. And it doesn't have to be big things. These impacts that we're talking about, it doesn't have to be like something extraordinary. It can just be making impact in the lives of a person, your neighbor, your colleague, your somebody you meet in the bus, on the train, wherever. It can be just very, very simple things that's very easy to do. So when we talk about impact, we're not talking about like going to be in the parliament or like doing very big things. Those are also wonderful, but we can start from somewhere.
I think that's a good viewpoint, because it's easy to think about, I cannot change the whole world, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yes, and when you think in that way, then you lose your voice. Then you don't use your voice, because each and every one of us, we have our voice. It might not be as loud as that of the president, for example, but we still have a voice, and we can use it. We can use it, for example, to say hello to our neighbor instead of just throwing our face the other way when our neighbor passes. We can use that to smile, at somebody who you see that is in a bad situation or that is feeling sad. So it can be really very kind of little in a way. Very little things, and it has an impact. It actually has positive impact on people when you smile, when you say hello. Sometimes I have noticed that people don't answer back, but still I think that it's a good impression, and it might be actually the only hello they hear for the day.
That's right. How was your book received? What did you get? Have you gotten like feedback from people? You mentioned some that have read it, but what kind of feedback have you got?
The book SoldOut has received very positive feedback. A lot of people have reached out to me and said that, oh, this book resonated so well, or I felt so sad. I felt I could put myself into Chiama's position, and I felt so bad for her. And many people have also reached out to me that they know somebody who has passed through the same thing. They know people who are actually in Finland and who have like similar stories. Yeah. So it makes me feel that, oh, I have done something important that people can relate to, that can also like help the people to know that they are not alone, and that it is okay that you've had a difficult situation, but it is not okay to remain there. You have to try. No matter the situation you find yourself in, it's important that, yes, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be sad, but don't remain there forever. Find a way to get out of there, because when you remain there for a long time, then it can it can complicate your issues. Depression can come in and all of that. So the feedback I have received have made me to think and to know that the book was not written for nothing, like that. Yes. It has been worth it to write it and to also to publish it.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think books can do that. That if you read about somebody who has like maybe not same but similar experiences, then it's kind of being seen in a way. And I think that's the worst part in having, like, let's say you have a very like bad experience in life, whatever it is. It's like natural to be kind of ashamed of it, even if it's not your fault. That's the crazy thing about humans, I think, that if I get hurt, I get, treated badly, then I am ashamed. That's insane, but that happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does happen, especially for victims of human trafficking. They take all the blame to themselves. Of course, they must have had a part to play, but you cannot blame them completely, because many of them don't know. Somebody walks up to you and tells you that he has a job, she has a job for you in Europe. It's difficult for you to doubt them. And actually, sometimes the promises, they seem too good to be true, but because the person is already in a very vulnerable situation, like Chioma, she was already in a very bad situation. Her father had rejected all of them, and her mother was struggling to see them through school. So she was already in a vulnerable situation, and that makes it easier for her to be deceived. So when you look at it, you cannot completely blame her, but she takes the blame to herself, and that is what happens to many of us when bad things are done to us. Sometimes when somebody acts like very badly to us, resists in a racist way to us, sometimes we can blame ourselves. But it's important to know that you are not to blame. Don't be too harsh on yourself.
Yeah, it's very important message.
And then it's also important to speak about it. Yeah. Yes. Find somebody you trust, somebody you can tell this about, and discuss it. Because we also have this saying that a problem half shared is half solved. So when you share your pains to people, then you feel a kind of relief. Then you don't have to carry the weight all to yourself.
Yeah, and it's also important, I think, to be, if somebody wants to tell, you can listen, and you don't have to have a solution to the problem, because most likely there is not a solution.
Yes, exactly. That is what I have learned. Previously, when somebody tells me their problem or their challenges, I try to think, oh, what if you do this? What if you do? But I have noticed that actually they tell you that not because they want a solution from you. It's possible they already have a solution in mind, but they want to share it with somebody. So also in my work at the moment, when I have clients come with their challenges, I listen. And at the end of listening, I said, oh, thank you for sharing this with me. And you see that the person feels relieved. They're not looking up to you for an answer. So it's important to have like good listening skills, especially there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment, not just in Finland, but all over the world. Many people, they're not in good shape. So if somebody wants to talk to you about something, of course, you also have to protect yourself. You also have to make sure that like you're not too emotional, that you like also get dragged to that person. But if it's possible, if you are able, just listen, just be the listening ear, and I'm sure it helps in some way.
Yeah, agreed. How about when you go to speaking events? How do you feel about those? And have you gotten? Do people like talk to you after that? Like, do you get a different kind of feedback as from the book?
Well, I have also been receiving quite positive feedbacks. There are sometimes, especially when I have the speech completely in Finnish, then sometimes I am a bit nervous because Finnish is not my mother tongue, and I have learned Finnish as an adult, which means that I am not as fluent as I would want to be. So sometimes I feel uncomfortable when I like give a whole speech in Finnish. But then after the speech, then I'm thinking, oh, I must have made 1,000 like mistakes. But then people come up to me and they say, oh, you did so well. Oh, that was so good. I didn't know you could speak Finnish that well. So this kind of feedbacks actually encourage me and motivate me to even do better. So it feels really good, like to get positive feedback, especially when I speak in Finnish. And
actually we agree that in this session that we talk now, we can switch if we want to, the language. So we talk like both in a way. My English is like, I think it's okay, but sometimes I struggle with words, and then the pronunciation is like maybe German style, but it doesn't matter.
And it's very important also that we can be flexible with language, because as adults, when you learn a new language as an adult, it's not always easy. Like you are vulnerable when you speak in a language that is not your mother tongue. So it's very important to be conscious of that. For example, in my work, I see a lot of that, and I try to remind them that myself also, I have learned Finnish as an adult. So it's really okay to be brave and to speak how much you know, and through that also learn more. And generally, I also wish that we could also be more tolerant of people who don't speak perfect Finnish.
I agree. And I think this is like a political thing, but I think especially here we should be very flexible in the language thing in the work life, because it's not that many jobs that actually require Finnish, that, at least perfect. And, but don't go into that now.
Yes, let's not go into that.
Also, I'm interested that in I think it was in your website or maybe Penn website, they said that you are writing new stuff, like there was mentioned that non-fiction book and maybe some children's book. Do we want to talk about those projects?
These are still work in progress, but yes, I have a non-fiction work that is still in progress, and currently my hands are full with many other things. I have 4 children, and and that takes a lot of time to do everything that is take care of family and take care of their school stuffs and all of that. And just like I mentioned, having children in Finland is very easy, but raising them isn't that easy, because you end up doing everything yourself. In, for example, Nigerian society, where you have grandparents, relatives who are always willing to help, then you can have more time to yourself, even as a person raising 4 children. But in my case, we have relatives that are not in Finland, so that makes it that we have to be very busy with 4 children. So because of this, the work in progress is taking longer than I would admit, but yes, it is in progress, and at the moment I cannot give a timeline when it will be ready. But this work in progress, especially the first one, is actually about my life in Finland. It's going to be a compilation of essays and of stream of thoughts, about my earlier days in Finland. Yes, and I am hoping that I would get a publisher that would be interested in publishing this.
Yes. Okay, publishers, you have to listen.
Yes.
Yes. Also, I think you mentioned in some other interview in internet, I found that you were interested in promoting entrepreneurship, and you, in a way, are now also entrepreneur, right?
Well, I have a full-time job.
Yes.
Yes, but I also, for example, when I do the speaking engagements, then I do that sivutoimisesti.
Yes. Just
Yeah.
now. Yeah. And then I noticed that you also give speeches about African literature, or it might be some topic. That's a very interesting topic for me, because when I hear that, I think about, okay, Africa is like a crazy big area. There's a lot of countries. So how can you talk about that? Like, what must be a rich tradition, but where do you talk about that when you talk about, how do you approach that?
Well, Africa, just like you mentioned, has a very big literary tradition, both oral and written. Actually, it started first with the oral tradition, where we tell, or our grandparents and our great-great-grandparents and those before us told stories from which was passed on from generation to generation. And this was one very important way of transferring knowledge to other generations, and that was before the written tradition started. So at the moment, there are many very prominent authors from Africa. Maybe you know about Chimamanda Adichie, who was recently in Finland in the spring. She is one of the greatest female African author living. And then we have also Professor Chinua Achebe, and we also have Wole Soyinka, who has been also a Nobel Prize winner.
I think I read something from that person. Yeah.
So because we've had this very rich oral tradition, it can also be seen when renowned African authors write books. And when you read a book by an African author, you see the difference. You see how rich, how it is mixed with culture, tradition, and it's very rich.
Yeah. I would maybe after this I would like to ask you to write me some tips. Like, what would be not one book, but a couple of books you could recommend for me?
I have many books to recommend to
you. So I want to ask that.
Yes.
Because I would like to kind of, I think I did some kind of Nobel challenge sometime. I tried to read something from each Nobelist. It's not still completed, but I think Wole
Soyinka.
Yeah, that was there, and then I think I read that. Yeah. But let's talk about that later in the writing.
Yes.
What else could I talk about? One very interesting thing. I don't think I've ever seen in a novel that there was like chapters. Things are happening. Chioma is doing something or remembering something, and then there is a recipe. And then stuff happens, and there's other recipes. You have recipes in the book.
Yes.
Why?
Well, for two reasons. First, was to give the reader a break from reading the very, very emotional and sad stories of Chioma's adventure. And the second was to introduce the rich food culture from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yes, and also to show again that there is no country, no culture that is completely bad. Like that there is always something good
exactly.
in a country, in a person, in a society. And through that, in the book talks a lot about, for example, gender inequality, a lot of bad things that are obtainable in Nigeria and in Africa in general. And the menu, the recipes there is also meant to show the good parts of Nigeria, that it's not only about bad things, it's not only about gender inequality, it's not only about violence. There's a very rich culture that people should explore as well.
Yeah, it was funny because when I read the book, I posted something about in the Instagram, and then you asked me that have I tried the recipe? Not yet, not still, but it was very like when you read it and then you find there's a recipe, it makes you happy in a way. There's a kind of playfulness in
it's like a comic relief also.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the, oh no.
Yeah.
But still, but I think still the book is not, I think we have said it already, but many times, but there is many sides to humanity and experiences. And while this book goes like very hard in the, dark things, and there's also happiness and things like, well, it's, yeah, that's it. It happens. And you have the whole, how do you say, the cycle of human experience there, maybe.
Yes, because in life, it said that life is not a bed of roses. It means that there'll be challenges, there'll be bad times, but there'll be good times also. So it's not okay to just focus on the bad times.
Yeah.
It's important to know that, okay, if you're having a bad time today, that tomorrow could be better. And you should be willing to work towards making tomorrow better.
Yeah.
Not just for yourself, but for people around you as well.
Yeah. What kind of reader are you? Do you have time to read now or at all? How do you do that?
Yes, well, I don't have a lot of spare time at the moment, but the little time I have, I actually like to read. Currently, I started reading Chimamanda's latest book, Dream Counts. I started reading it in the summer, and I am very close to finish. Yes, and I have also read. There is this book from a Nigerian author who lives in Sweden. She was last year in Finland, and she was the first African author that I saw at the academic bookshop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got 2 of her books, and I have just finished reading it before I started Chimamanda. So I actually read quite a lot when you compare to how much free time I have.
Yeah, exactly. Do you like physical books, or do you do like listening also?
I like to read a physical book because it feels very special to me. It feels that I have the book myself.
Yes.
Like when I listen to Anikide, it doesn't feel the same way. So I like to hold the paper book. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I think that is what reading a book means to me. Yeah,
I like also to you can take the book in the hand, and when I start the book, I always check how many pages are there, and then it's nice to, when you are in the halfway, that but I like to do that. But I sometimes read ebooks, get something from the publisher, for example, and then it's not the same because you don't feel that I've progressed or something like that.
Yeah, I can read news online. Yeah. I can read other things, but I would rather read like a real book, like I like to say.
Yeah. Do you follow like closely the kind of book scene in Nigeria or in all around? How do you find new books? What is your method?
Well, I get a few recommendations from people about what to read and what is the latest and all of that. So even though I don't follow like very strictly like the latest release, but I do get recommendations and I rely on those for now. Yeah. And I also like when I search the Helmet library, also I see a lot of English
that's pretty
books.
Good.
Yeah.
Selection.
And sometimes I read in Finnish, but more because my time is limited, and if I read in Finnish, then I need like double the time to like concentrate and no distraction.
Yes. How do you feel about or do you have some kind of community of authors in Finland? Do you know a lot of people who are also writers in here?
You mean those who are born abroad or
whatever?
Well, I do know a few Finnish authors, and so do I also know a few authors with immigrant background. Yes, but I would like to know more authors. I would like to get to know more about the literature in Finland, the Finnish literary scene. Fortunately, I am participating this year at the Helsinki Book Fair, and immigrant background authors will be represented there. There is this project, Fala Project, that also supports like immigrant-born authors to also like give them a platform and show that we are here and we are writing and you should listen to us. So I think it's a very good thing. But I would say that writers with immigrant background, they still face a lot of challenges. They don't have platform, and so I think it's very important that they could also get more Nakuvers.
Yes. And you're going to the Turku fair, right?
Yes.
So you're doing 2 book fairs.
Yes, but fortunately they're like time apart. So
yeah. Next time. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice because I think with your kind of attitude to making a change, it's important that you are there speaking because then you get like new audience, right?
Yes. I think it's a very wonderful thing that like the Finnish literary scene that we can see also authors who do not write in Finnish or Swedish because they are here.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
just that they are hiding or they are being hidden and they want to be seen, but they lack the platform to be seen. They lack people who would give them the chance, who would invite them to events, to speak at places.
Yes.
There are many very talented authors writing in different languages and they need platform.
Yeah, agreed. I talked to, do you know the Sivupalo project?
Yes.
So I talked to Jose Luis, and he had interesting stuff to say about that. And yeah, but it's if I talk about myself, and then when I look at what books are there, and that's right because I don't see that. It's all under the radar in a way because yeah. That's sad, but I hope it gets like better.
Yes, I hope so. And then at the same time, there are translations of, for example, books in English into Finnish, and all the time authors from abroad are invited to Finland, which is a very good thing. But I think that we should also think or try to also involve those who are living here already, who write in other languages apart from Finnish and Swedish. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Do you have some kind of dream about being an author in the future? What kind of books would you like to, if you had, if you didn't have to think about time or stuff like that, but what would be the greatest thing in an author's life for you?
Well, if I had all the time in the world, I have so many book ideas. Yeah, but I know that at some point in my life that I would also have the time that I need. For example, when the kids get older and all of that. But I think that the ideas will not be there forever. They need to be written down at some point before they disappear. Yeah, so my dream is to write more books, to publish more books, and to have a platform to talk about these important topics, because all the work in progress, in my opinion, they talk about very important topics that I think that should be mainstreamed and more people should hear and read about.
Okay. This has been an interesting discussion. Do you want to say something that I haven't had the idea to ask? Is there something from the SoldOut book or something that you still want to say in the recording? I know it's a difficult question, but
well, we have talked extensively already about the book, and I want the readers to be able to read it. I don't want us to tell everything about the book.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to leave some for the readers so that when they pick up a copy, then they still have this excitement of finding out what happens there. So maybe my last word would be that if you haven't tried the book yet, you should. The book is available at various libraries around Finland, and the book is also available on Suomalainen Kirjakauppa and also on the publisher's website. Yes, so get your copy today if you haven't read it, and let us know what you think about reading it. Yeah.
Do you if people want to contact you, for example, talking about this book, or if they want to have you as a speaker to an event or whatever, what is the way to contact you?
You find me on LinkedIn, where I am quite active in my opinion.
I can put the link in this episode,
Yes, and I also do have a website which is still on the construction, but it's already functional. Yes, so you can contact me through my LinkedIn and also through my website, and you will send the link in this.
I will put it there. Okay. Kiitos tosi paljon, kun tulit ja oli kiva jutella. Ja nyt me vedettiin tämmönen kaksikielinen.
Kiitos kutsusta. Ilo on mun puolestani. Mahtavaa. On ollut mahtavaa keskustella näistä aiheista ja mun puolesta olisin voinut keskustella loputtomasti.
Joo, siis mähän vähän pikkasen raapastin, että nämähän on kaikki isoja aiheita.
Joo.
Joo, mutta ehkä me lopetetaan tähän ja sitten kun kirjoitat lisää, niin voidaan jutella lisää.
Niin, kiitos kutsusta.
Kiitos.
Yeah.
Kiitos kuulijoille ja palataan asiaan ensi viikolla. Moi.
Moi moi.